Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new Peacock documentary, Woooooo! Becoming Ric Flair. And just to preface this, I've been a big pro wrestling fan ever since, 8th grade. So I've been watching pro wrestling for years. I know who Ric Flair is. I used to have a collection of not only movies, but WWE pay-per-views on DVD and documentaries about all the different wrestlers on DVD. And I've seen a few Ric Flair documentaries. And this is from director Ben Hauser. And what I feel like I appreciate most is how much of Ric Flair you get in this documentary, of him talking to the camera, being brutally honest about things. This isn't the kind of documentary that tries to sugarcoat things. He talks about how he was an absentee dad for a lot of his kids' lives. He talks a lot about his alcoholism and how he was processing the loss of his son Reed by drinking from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day. You have these very raw moments. We also get to see a little bit behind the man and seeing Richard Fleer versus Ric Flair and getting to see both of those people coexisting in this documentary. And I think this is one of the most compelling dives into Ric Flair that I have seen. And, I think some of the shortcomings of this documentary, which is still an hour and 50 minutes long, is that one, you could definitely smell the reek of WWE revisionist history, because basically it was like he had his retirement match with Shawn Michaels and then just focused on family, and that was it, and just completely skips the fact that he was in Impact Wrestling for years. So you still have that. And I was shocked that they even talked about Ric Flair's last match on this and the match he wrestled in Puerto Rico a week later, and how he tweeted about how he's never going to retire. So I was shocked that that was included, but they completely leave out those sections of, because this is from Peacock, which has the WWE network on it. So you can tell there's some kind of, we're not going to talk about this aspect of things. But you also have, his career's just too long and too impactful to just squeeze into an hour and 50 minutes. I could see a whole entire series. They had that whole thing on Joe Montana. I could easily see a Ric Flair documentary like that spans 6, 7, 8 episodes, because there's so much to dig into. So I feel like a decent chunk of his wrestling aspects get a little hastened and cliff noted, and it's just okay, and the wrestling fan in me is oh, more of that stuff. But what I appreciate so much about this documentary is the emotional stuff. It captures his legacy, the scope of who Ric Flair is, and the impact on pop culture. You see those deeply emotional moments. The whole entire section with him and his son Reed was devastating. And this documentary has some real emotion here, and I think that's one of the biggest aspects of it. It has a great collection of commentators. You have the pro wrestling people, you have the Eric Bischoffs, the Bruce Pritchards, the Triple H's, the Shawn Michaels, the Hulk Hogan's, the Stings. You have those people, but you also have people like Stephen A. Smith. You have people that you would never expect that are just pro wrestling fans that have been so influenced by Ric Flair. It's just something that, you have Post Malone popping up in this. That's how diverse the commentators are throughout this documentary. Overall, this is a really well made and impactful documentary about Ric Flair. It does have its shortcomings. It does have some of those restrictions in terms of time, and also the specter of WWE looming over this documentary. But it's so deeply emotional and impactful. It's a must-see, so go check this out. If you're a wrestling fan, you have to watch this. And chances are you probably already have Peacock because you want to watch WWE Network. So go watch this documentary. It's worth your time. But those are my thoughts on Woo! Becoming Ric Flair. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.